Elizabeth May has disgraced herself at the Parliamentary Press Gallery dinner over the weekend. She got drunk and said what was truly on her mind. She loves Omar Khadr, and she finds the Canadian cabinet to be of a lower moral, or at least less classy plane than that convicted terrorist. Here, look at her say it herself.
Omar Khadr, you've got more class than the whole cabinet. Thank you.
That's pretty gross. She apologized profusely, but not for saying she supports Omar Khadr. She just apologized for using the F word. She actually thinks that's more embarrassing than supporting a terrorist. I think Elizabeth May actually enjoyed herself yesterday. She had more media attention than she has had in years, and that's actually what seems to motivate her. And her local newspaper, the Victoria Times Colonist, seems to support that. They love her too, no matter the fact that she loves a terrorist. I want to quote from their editorial today called Lessons Found in May's Gaffe. I want to show you what a Canadian newspaper that is being written by Team Khadr sounds like. You're going to be disgusted by what her newspaper said. They said that Elizabeth May's speech was, quote, awkward and long. It was both of those things. She talked about sex. She talked about oral sex and anal sex. She swore repeatedly. She was drunk. But instead of calling it embarrassing or disgraceful, they just called it awkward and long. That's as tough as they'll get with her. But listen to what they go on to say. They say that she has preempted those ghosts with a profuse apology. She also said she had had a couple of long days with little sleep. She didn't offer a profuse apology. She apologized for swearing, but she did not apologize for supporting Omar Khadr. That's not an apology. And her general apology was, well, I was trying to be funny, you just didn't get my jokes. That's what the Chinese call an ironic apology. I'm sorry you don't have a sense of humor. I'm sorry my comedy stylings are just above the people here. And they bought her excuse that she had long days with little sleep. What MP doesn't? Is she not a big girl ready for Parliament? She needs to have an afternoon nap. What MP in that room doesn't go on little sleep? Does the Prime Minister of the country, which Elizabeth May actually thinks she might one day become, not go on little sleep? Let me read some more of this editorial because it goes from bad to worse. This is how the Victoria Times Colonist describes Omar Khadr. You got to get this. They say he was convicted of participating in activities in which people were killed. No, he wasn't. He was convicted of murder. Would you ever have a newspaper of record say that Paul Bernardo was convicted of activities in which, some girls were killed and some girls were raped? He was convicted in those activities. No, he was a convicted murderer and rapist. Why does the Times Colonist not say that Omar Khadr was found guilty of 5 war crimes? Why can they not bring themselves to say that? He's no longer just accused. He's convicted now. He may be appealing, but he's confessed to it. He's convicted of it. And we have the videotape of him building improvised explosive devices. What's so laughable is that the Victoria Times Colonist goes on to say what they found upsetting about the speech. Not her love for Omar Khadr, but the fact that, I just got to read this to you. She furthered the gaffe by making light of a person's name. See, Elizabeth May made a riff on Omar Khadr and that old 70s TV show, Welcome Back, Khadr. That's what really bugged the Times Colonist. They were making fun of Omar Khadr's name. Don't make fun of Omar Khadr's name, Elizabeth May. That's too mean. You should apologize for that. As in, she was disrespectful of a murderer's name, the Times Colonist. They go on. They're really upset about this song. The joke is even more discordant when you consider the lyrics of the song she played in the Khadr context. They're literally analyzing the song and saying it's inappropriate. This is what they're mad about, riffing on the song, using the song instead of the fact that she supports, and to this day supports, Omar Khadr. I'll end because I've quoted too much of this Times Colonist editorial already. I feel dirty having done it. But they actually say, Khadr is a victim in many respects. It's forgiveness he needs. Khadr is not a victim. He's a murderer. And he has not shown any compunction. He has not renounced Al-Qaeda. He has not taken responsibility for his actions. How can he be forgiven for something he has not yet taken responsibility for, shown accountability for, expressed regret for? He has not done that. He has not renounced his father's terrorism. He has not done those things one needs to do before being forgiven. And it's not up for the Times Colonist to forgive him. It's for the families of the man he murdered. A family, by the way, that is never mentioned in this editorial. I want to talk about Elizabeth May and anti-Semitism and terrorism because it's an unfortunate strain that has crept in to Green Party, not just here in Canada, but in other parts of the world. A few months ago, the Jewish president of the Green Party of Canada, named Paul Estrin, wrote a fairly bland editorial on the Green Party's website condemning the terrorist group called Hamas in Gaza. There's no doubt that it's a terrorist group. It's listed as a terrorist group by many countries around the world, including Canada. Paul Estrin was saying the obvious, but because he criticized the terrorist group, he was fired summarily by Elizabeth May, just drummed out of the party, his blog posting on their website deleted without notice to him. He was run out of the party because he was a Jew who didn't like a terrorist group being cheered. Well, Elizabeth May kicked him out. Elizabeth May has more love and respect for Omar Khadr than for the Jewish former president of her party. But like I say, it's not just the Canadian Green Party. Check out the deputy leader of the UK Green Party campaigning in the run-up to the UK election. Take a look.
Just because your God tells you to stand here does not give you the right to push us aside. Just because you observe the niceties of Holocaust Memorial Day does not mean that you have learned the lessons of history. Listen up, warmongers! Just because you switch off your TV set to avoid upsetting your children does not mean that you have not killed our children. We all understand that you cannot have peace in the Middle East without justice for the Palestinians. If you tolerate this, then your children will be next, will be next, will be next, will be next. Peace be upon you.
What's wrong with the Green Party? I'd say that whack job in the UK was maybe 5% angrier than Elizabeth May and about 5% more terrorist than she is. There's something wrong on the left, and I don't think Elizabeth May has come to terms with it. For TheRebel.media, I'm Ezra Levant.